Glad you made it back, everybody. We brought this breaking news to you earlier that President Trump has launched his own communications platform months after left-wing companies of Twitter and Facebook banned him. Here to discuss, the host of the Rubin Report and author of Don't Burn This Book, Dave Rubin himself. Hey, man, first, let's talk about the Trump platform launch, and then we can add to this Florida Governor Ron DeSantis introducing the Transparency and Technology Act, which includes fining big tech companies up to $100,000 for deep platforming political candidates. I'm getting a sense that Republicans finally are taking big tech seriously.
Well, it seems to be heading in that direction, especially with what DeSantis is doing. As far as what Trump did, this is just happening in the last hour or so. I did jump over to the site. It doesn't strike me as a platform per se. It's more of a website, meaning he can post some things there. And then there's some buttons for you to share it on Facebook or on Twitter. This may just be the first version of it. I suspect that it is. And as you know, I started locals.com. So I know a bit about how you can't just launch everything at once and you kind of have to do things in phases and beta test and A/B test and all of these things. But this is a pretty rudimentary site at the moment. I wouldn't call it a platform. It's sort of a blog at the moment. And this may be his first foray into this. As for DeSantis, I mean, I think making some moves on big tech using the legal mechanisms is the right move. We've discussed this a couple of times, Chris. I don't love using government authority to move on these companies, but at some point you gotta fight back, and I think DeSantis is the right guy to do it. The question is, can Florida alone set some things in motion that, will make big tech do anything? I don't know about the answer to that.
Yeah, and okay, but you and I both know that big tech is exploiting their legal protections. So I don't feel bad a company, getting its just desserts when it's exploiting we the people and having the government act to stop that. Let's go out to your state. Caitlyn Jenner has released the first gubernatorial campaign ad. Former athlete says now in this ad that I enter a race, a different kind of race, arguably my most important one yet to save California. What do you think about the positioning here? And then what do you think about the California Republican Party? How are they going to respond to this?
Yeah, well, first off, I mean, anyone, literally anybody, find a homeless guy under the 405, there's plenty of them, anyone would be better than Gavin Newsom. So at this moment, I'm basically supporting Caitlyn Jenner. We haven't seen a whole bunch of people come out and say they're going to run yet. The ad itself, which is about 2.5 minutes, is pretty solid. It's got the right ideas. Government can't solve everything. We can't tax everybody into success. We should get out of your way. We've locked down too much. I mean, it hits the right notes. Maybe this is what California has been left with, that, we're only going to get sort of reality TV stars, former athletes, trans activists, whatever it is, to be, in our government. That would be a sort of sad thing. But, it hasn't always been that bad, because that Ronald Reagan guy once was governor of California, and that worked out pretty well. And then he went on to be president, obviously. And even Arnold Schwarzenegger was pretty decent, especially by today's standards. So I would say at the moment, I think most sane, somewhat centrist people, the question is how many of them are there in California? I think they're going to support her. And, look, Gavin's just terrible. He's absolutely terrible. Even today, he's saying we have the lowest number of cases of COVID since this whole thing began, and he's still got us under that arbitrary June 15th lockdown, which is still over a month from today. I mean, that's really nuts.
It is. And you know what? It's funny you bring up Reagan. I was speaking with Mike Reagan about this just yesterday. Governor Newsom is moving to trim the prison population by extending early release credits to about 76,000 convicts. Now, Reagan said that he believes he wants to get all these folks out there so that they can vote for Gavin Newsom. I said it's just Gavin Newsom giving a middle finger to California, who's rejected him. What do you think?
I can probably make either argument, right? You're probably both right at some level. It might be because he wants them to vote for him, and it might be because he's just giving everyone the middle finger. But look, this is just another one of those things where it's like, we're in the midst of so many problems right now. Defund the police movement. We're seeing rolling riots throughout the country. We're seeing sort of the real destruction of a once great city of San Francisco, where everybody is now fleeing to Miami. I mean, look what's going on in Miami, in the great state of Florida, with the tech scene now, because they've all left there. My city here, Los Angeles, the homelessness has absolutely exploded. And then the resolution is, okay, let's put, 70,000 more people that are criminals back out on the streets. Now, I'm not opposed to letting some people out, depending on good behavior and everything else. But, you know, we're also supposedly in this time of a pandemic and everything else. And it's like these blanket ideas. Okay, just send 70,000 people out. Well, you know, we also have an economic crisis right now. There's not a ton of jobs going around. What are you going to do with these people? Are we just sending them out to be on the streets so they can actually build their own structures and live under bridges like everyone else, I guess?
I'm leaning toward middle finger. I got to be honest. Last thing.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
Texas Socialist Democrat Party chairman now resigned. Gary O'Connor, out there in Texas, as I said, he resigned after calling Senator Tim Scott an OREO. As you know, it's a racist slur. I said this earlier. I don't think I or anyone should tolerate being lectured ever again by the Democrat Socialist Party on racism. What do you say?
Chris, you know, I'm sort of a new guy to the conservative thing, a new guy to the right. I was a lefty years ago. I was a Bernie supporter, and I should be judged accordingly. That being said, I have yet to meet anyone on the right at any level that is doing anything related to promoting racism. That isn't to say there aren't personally somewhat racist people that could be on the right or could be conservative or something like that. But the modern left is racist. The reaction to Tim Scott's video, you know, his talk after the Joe Biden speech, was extraordinarily racist. They called him an OREO, they called him an Uncle Tom, they called him a bunch of stuff that neither one of us would care to say. And in essence, what they're saying is, oh, here is a black man who doesn't think the way we think black people should be allowed to speak. You're not going to believe this, Chris. I think black people are allowed to have a multitude of opinions on politics and everything else. But they think they're only black. I know it's crazy, right? I'm a real radical here. Yeah. But they think you're only black if you behave the way we white liberals want. And that is actually the essence. That's the essence of bigotry. What's prejudice? It's to prejudge. Well, if you look at someone and you go, oh, there's a black guy, I know what he thinks, that's called prejudice.
Amen. Right there. Dave Rubin, always a pleasure having you on the show, sir.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.